Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified business and executive coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in Southwest Ohio. Today, you're going to hear a story of a very passionate business owner who she'll say she started being a business owner later in life. I would disagree with her on that, but you can definitely see her passion and now taking that business and transforming it into a model that now is going to be franchised nationally across the U.S. So great transformation, great business building example. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Charla Lee. She's the co-owner and CEO of Joyful Cabinet Painting based in the Cincinnati area. Charla, welcome to the Spotlight series. Take a second, if you could, tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got started in business, and why cabinet painting?
Okay. Well, thanks, Todd. I really appreciate you having me on today. My business partner and I, she has since retired, but we knew each other. We worked together when we first moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, back in 2008. We worked together at our local church and just became friends. And then fast forward a few years, in 2017, we had the opportunity to purchase a business called The Colorful Cupboard. And at that time, the Colorful Cupboard was a consignment store. So it had local artist work. It had some painted furniture, and my partner Laura, she actually taught painting classes there. And so the woman was selling, and Laura came to me. And at the time, I was more in the corporate world, and my kids were getting a little bit older, and I was kind of thinking that I just wanted to do something a little bit different. So she approached me about going in and buying this business. So we did. I had, for as long as I could remember, I wanted to own my own business. And I just never could, I didn't come from a family of business owners. So I really didn't know what that looked like, but I always knew, like in my soul, that's what I wanted to do. But I could never figure out exactly what that looked like. So I took this opportunity with her and we just jumped in. And then so we started painting furniture. That was really what we had done as a hobby. So we started doing that and selling those services. So we realized probably about 6 months in why she wanted to sell, and that was because she was going to go out of business. And so
Now you tell
I
me.
thought, exactly. So I thought at this time, you know what, I've got this. We're going to do something with it. And so people kept coming in and asking about cabinet painting. And so at first we turned people down because we thought that's not what we do. And then we realized if we ever wanted to make any money at this at all, this may be a good avenue. So we took some training, we went to some conferences, and we just did it. And so we bought the business in May 2017. We did our first cabinet job in November of 2017. And she was painting the frames, I was spraying, and we just at that point never looked back. And so it just really took off. And it just since then we just started to scale little by little. We got more business. We really didn't even do any marketing. We already had a presence on social media, Facebook, from the Colorful Cover from when it was that business before. And so we offered a service. We did it well. We didn't charge very much in the beginning, and we just kind of scaled from there. And it really just took off.
Yeah, and you've had tremendous growth. I know we'll talk a little bit more about team,
Mhm.
but you've already grown to 17 plus
Mhm.
employees and probably more on the way based on your trajectory. So kudos, great growth
Yeah,
trends
thank
there.
you. Thank you. It's definitely been a journey.
So who are your ideal customers? Folks listening in say, hey, you know what? Hey, this could be a great solution for us.
Yeah, really we do residential. That's primarily what we do. Every now and then we'll do some commercial, churches, other businesses, things like that. So for the first few years, we just painted cabinets. And then a few years ago, we added on door replacement. So I think the one thing we have learned through this process is that everything always changes. So as we grew, we changed. We had to add on people. And then we really, even from the very beginning, our main focus was like listening to our customers and what do they want, and just having just integrity and very transparent communication. And we just over communicate. So I think, our ideal customer is just really somebody who is maybe people were burned by contractors in the past. Maybe they have a little bit of a distrust from contractors. They're looking to improve their living situation. I mean, people, especially during COVID, people spent so much time at home, and being your home and your kitchen, it's just such a place that really should just bring you joy. I mean, that should be someplace where you're happy. And so our ideal customer is anyone who is looking for that change and kind of that transformation on the place where they spend the most time. So it can be any budget. We paint small kitchens, where we would replace doors in $1 million homes. So we can meet people wherever they are. So really, that's just kind of, we just really work with each client on what is the best thing for them, whether it be what they want from design or budget, timing, anything like that. So that's really our main focus. And anybody's our client. Anybody looking to make a change in their home is our client.
Hey, I'd like to pull on that thread just a little more. You hit a little bit, I think, on kind of your approach to the market and maybe what separates you from what folks commonly
Mhm.
get as an experience from a home service contractor. So maybe tell us a little bit more about kind of your different approach, what makes you unique.
Yeah, and I think really from the very beginning, just really designing everything from the start. Are extremely process oriented and extremely customer service oriented. So those are the two main things. And really what I want each client to experience, what I would want to experience when I have somebody come into my home. And that's clarity, kindness, respect, knowing what's going to happen, transparent pricing. And what's amazing is that just because that's how we formed the company, and that's how from the very first customer, that's exactly what we did. And when I say we didn't need a lot of marketing in the beginning, and that's because we grew so much by word of mouth. And I think that was because people talked about the experience that they had. And we're also sort of we have a niche in what we do. We don't really have a lot of competition. You have some cabinet refacers, you have cabinet install, people who want to put in full new cabinets. We really want to focus on that quality, that value for quality, and also really we're eco-friendly, where we're not throwing away all of these cabinet boxes. So there's a lot of things like that that make us different than a lot of other people who are just kitchen renovators.
I love that. So you talked about, hey, you got great traction early on. Early years, really word of
Mhm.
mouth. I suspect that's still really strong for you. But are there other marketing channels that
Mhm.
have a good ROI for you that seem to generate a great return?
Yeah, and really, I would have to say social media starting us out, because we really in the beginning we didn't. And this is one of the things I think now I will help an entrepreneur that I did not do in the beginning, is to really focus a lot more on that marketing and taking into consideration, because in the beginning you think, oh, I don't have enough money for that. I don't have enough money for that. But what we found is that we could do things through different meta ads, later on a little bit, Google searches, Google ads, things like that, where you don't have to spend a lot of money, but focus and intentionally spending time posting, really making a concerted effort at the marketing. And a lot of that may just be brand awareness, but it gets our name out there and people know us, and that just continues for those referrals to flow too.
Okay. So continued focus for you even today, right? To keep
Oh
that
yeah,
going.
even more so now. Even more so now. Hmm.
So eight years in, you shared some of the pivot you had to do very early on, right, and kind of getting your niche really clarified for you. But I'm curious, other key challenge you had to overcome in that past 8 years that really stands out to you, and what did you learn from that experience?
I was so early on. It was, again, like I said, it was just Laura and I, and then we started adding people. And then in 2021, Laura's husband, who is both Laura and Jason are veterans. Laura's a Navy veteran, and Jason retired from the Air Force. So he came on full time to work for us in 2021. So I would say a challenge of early on is realizing what you don't know. and finding the right people to bring in to fill those gaps. So I would say I handle more of the sales and I'm more of a visionary. What I don't do is QuickBooks. What I don't do is save receipts. So Jason is a genius at those things. So we were able to do well enough by 2021 that we were able to bring him on full time. So he focuses all on those financials. So all on, he also helped us in many other ways. Bringing carpentry in, like we now do finished carpentry, and he trains young people who come to work for us on how to do all of that. So we give them those skills. So I really think early on is just like knowing what I could not do and bringing in the right people. And I think a lot of people, or a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in the home services sector, they think they can't afford to bring on employees or support staff. And I think what I have learned is that we could not afford not to do that. That is the only way we have been able to grow. If we did not hire people to bring to come on and replace some of the, I mean, if I were still in the back spraying doors, we would never have grown the business to over $1 million in revenue within the first couple of years. I mean, we just, so it's like you have to be able to fill those spots to be able to grow. I mean, otherwise we would still be back where we were or out of business.
That's great you shared that because hear that so often from folks. I'm
Mhm.
curious, but what helped you get past that hump? Right, that's that big hump.
Oh,
Oh, we can hire now. Right? Oh no, it's just easier, cheaper for me to be back there spraying those doors, or kind of stuff, right?
I think it was just that I never gave up wanting to grow. I mean, and I was just out selling. I mean, people were asking, I was selling. It was just a natural progression because we were able to find something that people wanted and that people could afford. I think, and what got over, is I think I always kind of knew, like if I wanted to grow, I had to have that support staff. And I think what the hard part, especially I think in this industry, or maybe all industries, is finding the right people.
Mhm.
So, I would say finding and the right people who fit in with our value system, who understand, what we're looking for and willing to grow with us. I mean, the one thing most of our staff has been with us for several years,
Mhm.
and which you don't hear a lot about in this industry. And we start out with a lot of younger folks and who want to learn. Like they don't need to, I mean, I didn't know how to install a cabinet when I started. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. So it's really, finding the right people who are willing to learn and who want to grow. And we love being able to mentor people to have them, go on and find, we'll pay for them to go get carpentry skills. Well, things like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
So
Oh,
sounds
that
like those are
answers
some great keys to unlock your team, which now has grown to
that.
be a much larger team as well. And any other
Yeah.
keys in terms of finding those folks who want to learn, like you said, and keeping them engaged?
It's not easy for sure. But I think just really having that open communication, just them understanding where the business is, where the business is going, setting that scene for them that they would feel like that they would have ownership of it. That that I really think about who, if I'm hiring somebody in their early 20s, what I would have wanted from a place of work at that time.
Mhm.
And it's just to feel like I'm a part of something that cares about me, that's growing, where I have room to grow myself. So yeah, I think really that. And it's just always we take into consideration when they have things, we're a lot of open communication both ways. So I just think that's really important
Okay.
for staff.
So,
Yeah.
any particular ways you found those people, though? I mean,
Oh,
networking, job postings. What if folks always want? Where are they at? Where can
I mean,
I?
yeah, I would say mostly job postings.
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, things
Okay.
like that. Just putting the word out. friends of, children of our friends,
Yeah.
people we know,
Yeah.
things like that. Really a lot of that networking. As we've grown, that's definitely how we started,
Hmm.
hiring our friends who we needed extra help from. But
Sure.
a lot of it at this point is more job posting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So shared that, hey, that journey, kind of those lessons learned, some of the challenges you overcame, those initial hires, right, and continuing to hire. What's the challenge you have in front of you as we sit here today?
Yeah, so I would say and this is what at the beginning I mentioned that we bought a business called Colorful Cupboard. And so that's how we operated as Colorful Cupboard Painting up until about a year ago. So once we really we got to our capacity in Cincinnati and surrounding areas. So as that entrepreneur, I'm always thinking about ways to grow. And along with my business partner, Laura, she retired and her husband came on as the other co-owner. So he and I, so it's still kind of in the family. And we pretty much reached our capacity here. And I'm like, I'm getting a little bit older. I started this business in my mid 40s. And, we've been in business 8 years, but I'm like, you know what? I still have about 10 more good years left. So I can either stay where we are or let's see what we can do in those next 10 years. So Jason and I really just brainstorm about it and try to figure out the best way to expand. And so we were kind of researching all of these ways that we want to, do we want to open another store in Columbus? Do we want to open another store in Dayton? How we would go about this. And at that time, an old client of ours whose kitchen we had painted about 3 or 4 years ago, she was a designer and we had kept a relationship with her. And we would refer her when we had clients that needed a little extra help deciding on a color. So she came to us last spring and said, my husband is getting transferred to Austin, Texas. I love what you do. I want to take it down to Austin. And this was at the same time we were trying to figure out how we were going to expand. So we decided at that point that the best way for us to expand would be to franchise. And so to be able to franchise, we had to trademark our name. And we could not trademark Colorful Cupboard because there was just too many other things that were similar to that. So we decided on Joyful Cabinet Painting, which was a very difficult decision. But we thought, well, we think that really expresses who we are. That's how our clients, that's how our staff acts, that's how our clients perceive us. We really want to give that experience to all of our clients. So we became Joyful Cabinet Painting at the beginning of this year. So I would say, really just figuring out how to expand and how to grow was one of the hurdles. So franchising. And so at this point, moving into that space where we're franchising, we're now looking at selling our second, third, and fourth franchises. We'd like to do that by the end of the year. So she is in Austin, Texas. She's up and running now and doing great. We really want to focus on Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana right now because we feel like we can easily support those franchises. So I would say at this point, it's super exciting, but we're really just looking for people like us that want to live that dream as an entrepreneur, but don't want to start from scratch like we did 8 years ago, and just kind of partner with people and help them live their best lives. Really, that's really what we're looking for. I mean, as a woman entrepreneur, um, I think when this hit me at 45, I was working and just part-time, but my kids were getting older. And I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to have more time, but also I need to pay for college. I need to put two kids through college. And so I'm like, how am I going to do that? I've been out of the business world full time for a while. And what this business has given me and what it has been able to provide for my family, I want to really be able to give that to somebody else. I think this is a great opportunity I would just love to be able to give that to somebody else.
Well said. Again, you can see your passion and energy for what you do, and also the potential in the future. And yeah, I encourage folks
Yeah,
who have that itch, right? Of I think I always wanted to be a business owner. It's a great way to step in and get started and leverage
yeah.
a proven model and grow from
And
there.
that's the thing. It's like take what we've trialed and errored over the last 8 years, and you don't have to do all that. You don't have to do all that.
All right. So what's then kind of build upon that? Let's say 10
Mhm.
years. You mentioned maybe you got another 10 years. What's your dream? What's this look like in 10 years?
I mean, really what I think it's going to look like in 10 years, I mean, as we just grow this nationally, we just continue to expand our team. We have, I mean, I really just envision that network of business owners, of people who come under us, and it's like a family. They talk about franchising like a marriage, because you're really in it with people. You're really there supporting day in and day out, and that's just really what I see. I see, Cincinnati continuing to grow that, but then really moving on to the next step and growing the franchise. And I think people, it's, what I think, if I had the courage to do it back then, anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. I think really, like, the key to any entrepreneur for success is just perseverance and being able to adapt. I mean, really, it's like you can't be stuck in your ways. You can't think there's only one way of doing things. You always have to be open to learning and willing to do things differently. And I just, I really, and I'm very passionate about women in business. I think in the contracting world, there are very few women business owners. And not to say that our franchises certainly do not need to be women, all women, but I think it's a great opportunity for women who want to own their own business. And it's a great opportunity for partners. I can see a husband and wife team really, complementing each other and have, and helping each other. I think there's all different kinds of ways to do this. And so, yeah, so I guess, in 10 years, I hope we're as well known as McDonald's and or Chick-fil-A, and we're just helping other people live their dreams.
Well, I love it. And we'll in the show notes we'll have contact information for
Yes,
you folks want to reach out to learn even more. So you
absolutely. There's
uh,
plenty of ways to find us.
yeah. You already mentioned, several things you view as keys to your
Mhm.
success. Things like, hey, don't get stuck, in your ways. Be open, continue to learn and grow. What other
Mhm.
things would you say are, hey, your keys to success that you'd want to share with other entrepreneurs or maybe starting out newer in their journey?
I definitely I think you have to believe in yourself. I think that's the number one thing. I think you can, I think you have to put doubters aside. People are going to be like, oh, you're crazy for starting something like this. I think you've got to be able to believe in yourself. I think the second thing is you've got to surround yourself by people that are going to lift you up, that are going to build you up. You surround yourself by it. You cannot do this alone, whether it's people who work for you, whether it's partners, whether it's your family. You've got to have people who are there to support you. And I think just always willing to learn, always willing to try new things. I mean, if we kept the business the way we started it, I truly believe we would certainly not be where we are today
Yeah.
if we were still in business. I mean, we in the world of competition, different competition in the world of, you had COVID, we have recessions, all of these things. It's really just how we change and market ourselves and adapt to our customers and listen to our customers and what they need. There's so many resources out there today. There's podcasts, there's people like you, there's business coaches, there's I mean, I just think every day I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm grateful for this day, but what can I do better? What can I learn that I didn't know yesterday? What's going to influence how I interact with my customers? How can I be a better boss? How can I be a better leader? Um, just all of those things. Yeah.
Great list, right? Believe
Yeah.
in yourself, surround yourself with others who are going to help lift you up, and just, be continuously learning and growing.
Hmm.
Like early on in our conversation, you said, hey, recognize everything always changes. So you need to be ready
Uh-huh.
for that and to take advantage of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And be excited about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, our time goes very quickly here today. What are the best ways for folks to follow, to stay connected with you and Joyful Cabinets and
Mhm.
and to learn more?
Yeah. So our website is joyfulcabinetpainting.com. That's the name of our business. You can find me, Charla Lee, on LinkedIn. You can find our business on LinkedIn. A great way to see what we do is, aside from our website, is on Facebook or Instagram. If you follow us on there, we post tons of before and after pictures. You can see all of our services. You can look on Google. We have amazing Google reviews. And what's most of those Google reviews are not only about the quality, but it's how we treat our clients. And I think that's such an important key too, and key to our success, and just something that we just keep trying to get better at every day. So, really a lot of those ways, but those are all great ways to find out our different services, what we do, and who we are.
All right, great, folks. Check the show notes for all those details, some great examples to learn more and stay connected. So, Charla, as we wrap up today, what are you inspired by?
I think I'm inspired by other entrepreneurs. I think I'm inspired by other people who are living their dreams, who are maybe trying something different, who maybe are trying something they didn't think, never had the courage to do. Yeah, I don't know. I just think we have limited time left. My faith is super important to me, and that means a lot. So I think I'm just inspired by that. I get the chance to do this every day.
All right. Well, thank you. And you're inspiring others. So thank you for sharing your story, as I mentioned multiple times, your passion, your energy for what you're doing, and what you see as the future with joyful cabinet painting is very apparent. So thank you for sharing your story with us today on the Spotlight.
Thank you.
All right. And to
I
our
appreciate it.
viewers, oh, sorry, we're thrilled to have you join us today as well. We encourage you to hit the like button. That helps us spread the message even more. And also encourage you, if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you can check out other inspiring messages from other entrepreneurs like you heard from Charla Lee here today. So with that, I hope you all have a terrific day. Thank you.